What's up? Yo, man, yo biters. All your homeboys are biters. Yo, whack, so what's up with that? Yo, what are you talking about, man? I never stole no moves from you. All your moves ain't worth it a bit. So what's up with that, punk?
Punk, who you calling punk?
And boom, Rocksteady, New York City Breakers, and Mad Force chilling in Conference. We was bugging. We were like the young kids of the 80s, you know what I mean? The exploitation era, but it took us all over the world. We were bumping into each other cross-continent, you know what I'm saying? And we thought we were rich and shit.
Crazy Legs and those guys were managed by a chick named Lady Blue. She had engineered them to make a record that became a #1 hit in London. Hey You, the Rocksteady Crew. It was not a B-boy record. It was a pop record, but it was a #1 song. And I don't think the Rocksteady Crew ever really loved the record because they were like, you know, this ain't about B-boying, but it was about putting some money in their pockets for a minute.
I started breakdancing with my friend Donovan and Mike, and we actually had a lot of those black people in Samoan, and we used to all come to my house, and my mom would wake up in the morning, there'd be like a gang of Samoans from like Carson City, hardcore, and she'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm like, Mom, teach me how to spin on my head.
A lot of people, unfortunately, took it as a fad, you know?
I guess what was going on was the breakdancers themselves weren't in control of it. It was just a media frenzy, as oftentimes happens in this here crazy pop culture that we live in. So you just get chewed up and spit out by the media machine.
I don't know why, but the police and other people in the city and officials wanted to ban breakdancing because they felt it was a nuisance. They shut down the streets, they shut down Venice Beach before. I saw a guy just do an arm wave and go to jail.
But what they did was just, you know, they put it out there and then they, you know, everybody was into it like as far as just this the end thing. Then when the next thing came through, they kind of like kicked it to the curb. A lot of the mainstream kids, you know, the media said, okay, it's dead, it's time to move on.
So you know everybody on the industry tried to get all their mileage out of it and milk it for what it's worth, rape it like they do, and move on.
B-boying did eventually die out. There's a number of reasons why, and there are people out there who kind of blame me in a way because they see myself and the New York City Breakers as being the people who took breaking from being underground and taking it and making it really huge and making it a big splash out of it, putting it out there in television and in films, and we commercialized it, and I'm not ashamed of that.
Here we were, 1 minute we were in the limelight. Everything was straight. Traveling all around the world. Walk up to a club, hey, come on in, club. You help build as far as reputation, you know. And next thing you know, it's like, go to the back of the line, boom. You know, how do you really nurture someone for this industry? You know, and prepare them for what can happen, especially someone coming from the ghetto, and all you see is like money. From that to having loot in your pocket, renting OJs out, getting all your boys high, and having honeys, and to next thing, just like having the rug pulled under you. Yo, I went through the ill identity crisis.
When we were dancing and one of the guys, Matt, he got killed in a motorcycle accident. It's like from then, it's like everything just started falling apart.
Yeah, that
we didn't get any more gigs.
That kind of brought us bad luck.
Yeah, it kind of brought us bad luck. We didn't get any gigs, and we just kind of lost it from there. We stopped dancing.
Toward the end of '84, like, a lot of crews broke up, you know, including Rocksteadies and New York City Breakers and Dynamics.
And I think it should have never went above ground. I don't think it was made for commercialism. I think it was designed by God to spread love between the communities. You know, there's a lot of kids that have so much energy, creative energy, you don't know what to do with it. You know, we were doing wild things, man, but the longer I was on the cardboard, it just kept me occupied.
You were too tired to fight because you've been popping and breaking all night. You were too busy learning how to windmill than to rob and steal. Because the idle hand is a devil's workshop. So if you had so much to do, you ain't never had time to go out and do the wrong.
Imagine somebody took me and showed me how to wear a bandana, a rag or something to claim a color. I would have put the same energy in the gangbanging as I did in the b-boying.
Our aggression was breakdancing, was b-boying towards another crew. You know, because before that came, there was gangs.
NWA, they came out with their versions of rap, and what they did was it actually influenced gangsterism.
I seen the change from rap being rocking parties to rap being gangster. I was there when it changed. I was there and I even became a part of it, trying to be a gangster, started getting tatted, started getting braids, cornrows, started sagging.
You know, I was like so disappointed with just like everything that was going on in my life with, you know, Rocksteady crew. I just started going back to school. I got a job, you know, also going to college for a minute. And I started hanging out with some old school friends, Buck Boy, and you know, it was my best friend. And unfortunately, they weren't into the greatest scene in the world. I was sniffing blow, smoking weed. I used to sell guns. I held over $1 million for a friend of mine in my crib for about 2 years. Cash. And I was involved with certain things that led to some of my closest friends getting killed.
You look right now at like Randy. He was from the I think he was from the LA Breakers. Kid Tough. They're all in jail, and it's like even Float, one of the best breakers ever in New York City, which is in jail for murder right now.
But before I got involved with hustling, doing this thing, along with that game comes a lot of, you know, ridiculous beef. Sometimes there's beef, and then one person gets murdered, another person on the other side gets murdered, and eventually it got to a point where they found out where Buck lived. They caught him in his garage, and they basically kind of like tortured him and murdered him execution style.
We'd like to have a moment of silence for them. Excuse me. So everyone, if they can be quiet for a few moments, just to honor those brothers that have passed away.
Look in the street and see muggings, killings, and you say to yourself, hey, I'm doing something for this world. I'm entertaining people. That's good. That makes me feel good.
Thank you.
Now, there are a lot of people from the old school that aren't here right now. My first moment of silence goes out to Kid Tough from the Dominoes. Kid Tough got to the point to where he was one of the best on the West Coast. I mean, one of the best. He got caught up. He ended up doing time. He got back out. He was going to start breaking. I talked to him 2 days. Right before it happened, and he was killed. They took breaking away from us. Gang banging and dope dealing came in, and I know everybody from here know what that means.
Want to be a gangster, want to be a thug aspect. Don't get too caught up in that. Always understand that this is entertainment, you know? You don't see Robert De Niro trying to kill Al Pacino, you know what I'm saying? Or Joe Pesci. Them is actors, you dig it? Just like all these rappers is basically actors. Let's be for real here. I know.
I lay low and let the day go, but slow my payroll. Hey yo, I'ma terrorize tours, slay shows, ride safe flows, go as far as the Barbados. On the turntable, sound like tornadoes. My topics perform like tropical storms. Yo, not to get on the whole spot to get torn. I keep the Metropolitan hollering and bring the dollars in. Keep the models following, wise as King Solomon. Come slow through the jungle like an animal. Invade any land, I go like General Hannibal. From Long Island to Queens, light up the New York scenes, all the way to New Orleans, everything in between. Left to go, blessed to show in Mexico. Next thing I know, extra core, I see Eskimos. Time to rock, get it hot. Soon as I get in there, spit in their ear, flow stay froze when I disappear.
You can go up to a businessman and say, in '85, you ever heard of breakdancing? Yeah. You ever heard of rapping? You mean rapping a gift?
All of a sudden, just died out. Rapping took over and shit.
The dancing was really what catapulted rap music into like the media's eye. And it was really the media grabbing these b-boys and saying, hey, you know, let's take these kids on tour, let's do shows, and hey, we want to bring these rap artists.
Rap had product. It had something that it could sell. It had music, it had CDs, it had records, and it's something that one could take home. You can't take a breaker home with you.
It lasted for a minute where you used to have dances for your stage show, but then after a while, it became more pop, so a lot of that phased out.
I think the MCs and the rappers out there have not really recognized what how b-boying opened doors for them.
When they say, yeah, I do hip hop, it's like, you know, but they're really trying to say is I rap.
The thing that Run DMC represents is the thing that's going to not let people forget, us and KRS-One, of course, not forget about that time or that era where the whole culture of hip-hop was the music of hip-hop, which is rap, the dance of hip-hop, which was breaking, and the art of hip-hop, which was graffiti. Those things all were like 3 in 1, hand in hand. Once rap became a money-dominated entity, those things fell off. Breakdancer really didn't play out per se. It's just that, you know, motherfuckers over here is just too much of a bitch to understand what real hip-hop culture is. The music. I tell a lot of b-boys, especially a lot of upcoming b-boys, they just see a circle when they just want to get down and just exploit their mood. But I always tell them, listen to a certain beat, because that's important that when you go down, what you go down to.
I have videotapes of guys in Germany dancing to fucking Donna Summer's Bad Girls and Brooklyn rock into it. How do you Brooklyn rock to that?
Many of my b-boys around here, we always go down to the break beats. Like Apache was one of our favorite records around here. That's a b-boy anthem.
It's just it. You throw on some James Brown or some Just Begun. You could be dressed in a tuxedo if you're a real b-boy, and you got, I don't care if it's a little bit of top rock. You're gonna do something.
Well, all they had to do, man, was put that record on, man, that Just Begun joint. And that's when it was on, man. We got busy, man.
R&B funk is the music that we dance to. If it was funky, we dance. Although we could dance to a waltz, okay?
Planet Rock. That was the popping song.
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly the breaking song, was it? Because it didn't have that beat.
It could be a day that you feel like, oh, I don't feel like catching wreck today. But play one of those records and your mind will change really quick.
Damn, when I first learned about the dance in '77, it was called b-boying. By the time the media got a hold of it in like '81, '82, it became breakdancing, and I even got caught up calling it breakdancing too.
Yeah, but you know what? That's our fault, kind of.
Of course.
When breakdancing went mainstream, and we started, you know, dancing and going on tours and stuff like that, and people would say, "Oh, you guys are breakdancers." We never
We had to reinvent ourselves. You see, we kept walking around calling ourselves breakdancers. They're like, y'all them kids from the 80s, man. That shit is played out. But when we started calling ourselves b-boys, it was like, what? This is a new shit.
B-boy that's what it is. That's why when the public changed it to breakdancing, they was just giving a professional name to it. But b-boy was the original name for it, and whoever wants to keep it real will keep calling it b-boy.
People unfortunately took it as a fad, you know.
I guess what was going on was the breakdancers themselves weren't in control of it. It was just a media.
What's up? Yo, man, you're biters. All your homeboys are biters.
Yo, Wax, so what's up with that? Yo, what are you talking about, man? I never stole no moves from you. All your moves ain't worth the bit. So what's up with that, punk? Punk, who you calling punk?
And boom, Rocksteady, New York City Breakers, and Mad Force chilling in conference. We was bugging. We were like the young kids of the 80s, you know what I mean? The exploitation era, but it took us all over the world. We were bumping into each other cross-continent, you know what I'm saying? And we thought we were rich and shit.
Crazy Legs and those guys were managed by a chick named Lady Blue. She had engineered them to make a record that became a #1 hit in London. Hey You, the Rocksteady Crew.
I started breakdancing with my friend Donovan and Mike, and we actually had a lot of those black people and Samoan, and we used to all come to my house, and my mom would wake up in the morning, there'd be like a gang of Samoans from like Carson City, hardcore, and she'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm like, Mom, teach me how to spin on my head.
It was not a b-boy record, it was a pop record, but it was a #1 song. And I don't think the Rocksteady Crew ever really loved the record because they were like, you know, this ain't about b-boying, but it was about putting some money in their pockets for a minute.